joined by Benchmark Mineral Intelligence Head of Price Assessments, Caspar Rawles, to discuss battery metals and some of the developments in the sector going forward. Welcome, Caspar.
Thank you.
I'd just like to start off by you giving me an idea of the current frontrunner battery metal.
For me, personally, my opinion at the moment, despite a pretty bad 2019, would be cobalt. The reason for that is quite simply what we've seen since the start of the year in 2020 is a big turnaround in sentiment from the industry, particularly the refining industry, the kind of mid-tier part of the supply chain, which has led to some fairly significant price rises, although prices are still relatively low, but in the time frame they've happened, they've been quite quick. So it started as the year positively. We've had some more positive news about subsidy announcements in China, for example, which is probably going to help fuel the story. So I think at the moment, for me, that looks like the front runner.
Okay, perfect. And what are some of the trends that we should look at in terms of battery metals for 2020?
Yeah, so the key trend would be, I would say one of the main factors at the moment is that announcement from a Chinese minister that they wouldn't be changing or significantly changing the subsidy policy in China. So last year we saw a 50% drop and we saw a very big corresponding downward trend in sales. This year there was, obviously this isn't an official announcement, so we don't know exactly what will happen, but it looks as though the subsidy will remain relatively unchanged, which should theoretically help demand. And of course, the other side of that as well, we're now starting to not be so dependent on China. So we're seeing legacy international automakers start to release a bigger number of fully electric vehicles to the market. So we'll probably see demand pick up in other regions as well, so Europe and North America in particular.
Okay, and then from a pricing perspective, what movement do you expect to see this year?
It's a good question. It's a multi-billion-dollar question.
It is.
I mean, I can talk in more detail about cobalt. What I cover in most detail as part of my role is we've started strongly, so we've had a good start, as I say. If the good news continues through the supply chain, things like the subsidy announcement, positive sentiment, not just in China but throughout the world, and of course with cobalt we're dependent on some other industries, particularly superalloys and aviation, but if things continue as they are or have done at the start of the year, then I think that prices look like they're going to be pretty good going forward.
Okay, and then sticking to cobalt, what role do you expect Africa to play as a cobalt provider going forward?
A very important one. Quite simply, obviously the DRC is the largest, or I say obviously, the DRC is the largest cobalt producer in the world. Produced about 3/4 of the world's cobalt last year. And what we're actually seeing in the near term at least is any new capacity that's coming online is pretty much in the DRC. There's some small additions elsewhere, but realistically the DRC is adding the volume. So it's going to become a more significant player. On top of that, Africa actually has all of the battery minerals, so it could contribute significantly to the whole supply chain. So the only downside we're seeing at the moment is we're not seeing capital flow into these markets as we think is needed for the future, which is understandable in some ways because we are in a time where lithium prices, cobalt prices, nickel prices are relatively low, copper price is low, which is obviously important because of cobalt's byproduct nature with copper. So Africa can play a big role, but we need to see more investment happen now in order to meet future demand.
Okay, and then as batteries reach the end of their lifespan, has the industry really thought about the recycling aspects of this?
Yes, so people are looking at that very, very seriously. China's leading the way at the moment, but the world is, we're going to need battery recycling for two main reasons. One is that it's going to be, we think, mandated by governments. We can't have this kind of green transport future and then throw lithium-ion batteries into a waste disposal and heavy metals leaching into the groundwater. It's just not going to happen. It doesn't make sense. So governments will mandate how these cells are treated. So that's important. The other thing is the minerals are very valuable and they're going to be in short supply. So why are you going to, as an automaker, spend all that money buying the minerals and then not recycling them? So the key thing is on top of that is that it's very hard to transport lithium-ion batteries, particularly spent cells. So we're going to need to see regional recycling happen in order to do it safely. So that's something that people are looking at. Now the great unknown is exactly when the big volumes of these batteries that are going into EVs are going to come back from the market. So expectation is around 10 years will be the life cycle of an EV. Although it's yet to be seen, of course, because we don't have big volumes of different EVs going into market. And then what happens then? Does that battery go straight to recycling, or does it go to second life applications, which is a possibility as well. So whilst people are looking at it, it's actually quite hard to deploy capital because you don't know exactly when you're going to start to see a return. So the processes are being developed, but we're still yet to see these big battery recycling facilities be invested in.
Okay, thank you, Caspar. Really appreciate your insights.
No, thank you, Bethany. Thank you. Cheers.
To see other insight videos, please visit Mining Review Africa's YouTube page and click to subscribe.